Hi friends, I'm Marie, and today I'm excited to share with you this fun project for needle felting a Twiggy reindeer. These are so easy to make. You can make them in any color you can imagine. They're a fantastic beginner needle felting project and would certainly be a fun DIY Christmas project for the family. Let's just take a quick look at this project up close. These needle felted reindeer, one of the great things about them is that you get to make them really unique and one of a kind by gathering sticks in the woods, which I had a great time doing with my family. We'll look at what kind of sticks work great for the legs as opposed to the antlers. They are needle felted with core wool. We cover them with our wool batting, and you could use the MC1 batting, the Bergschaft batting, the Maori batting, really any color that strikes your fancy. We're going to give them little glass eyes, a cute nose, some ears, a little tail, and if you like, you can add a little blanket on top to keep them cozy. This is a perfect beginner needle felting project. So easy to do, so much fun, and actually they come together quickly. So even if you're doing last minute Christmas decor or gifts, these can come together. You can make a few of them in an evening. Let's take a look at the supplies we'll use for needle felting our Twiggy reindeer. For the body of our reindeer, we're going to use our CW1 core wool, about 30 grams or 1 ounce. I'll be using our Evergreen MC1 for my outer coat and a little bit of coal or black for the nose. For the body, you can also use any colors that you're inspired to use. This is Taipool in the Maori. This is MC1 in vintage red, oatmeal clay. The Bergschaft or Maori will be great for the outer coats as well. Any batting will be super. We'll needle felt on our Wow mat. This is a 17 by 17. You can also use the Earth Harmony foam. We'll build the body up on this armature. This is our brown covered armature wire. It's 18 gauge, 18 inches long, and you can use a chenille stem if you want as well. To needle felt, I'll be using a coarse, medium, and fine needle. So 36 triangle, 38 star spiral, 42 triangle. Then I have a cluster here of 42 triangles that I've rubber banded together and covered with wool. And you might also like to use a wooden holder. This is our righty tool. I'll put glass eyes in my reindeer. I'll use size 4mm glass eyes because I think it looks super cute. If you decide to go larger, this is the size 7. You'll also want some marking tools. In this case, the pencil could be a marking tool, or we'll also use it to help us shape some kind of marking pen. An awl that is tapered would be ideal. We have this in the shop too. A super sharp pair of scissors with a very sharp point is what you need. Something to bend your wire. This is our needle nose plier and wire cutters. Some tacky glue or fabric glue or permanent glue. Something to cut your branches, some top dressing if you want, like a little blanket. This is some flannel that I had lying around. Of course, we'll need some sticks, branches for our Twiggy reindeer, so we'll need some twigs for the legs and the antlers. I have a really fun basket here of twigs that I've gathered on walks, out hiking with my husband and our dog. And I want to show you just what to keep an eye out for, things that will work and things that may not work while you're gathering your twigs. As we look at these twigs here, this is just one of my favorite branches. There is a lot of opportunity in this branch right here. It is very typical of our area to have lots of moss on it. So if you were making a very large reindeer, this twig would be fantastic for a large antler. For the size of reindeer I'm using, this portion from here up may be plenty for an antler right here. So we can use this and cut off these other parts. There's not a lot in this branch, I think, that would serve well as a leg because it's very bowed, very arched, and this end is very thick. So for the antlers, you're going to want to figure out what's the size of your reindeer and how big do you want those antlers to be. So you can see how the top of that might serve well for this size of a reindeer. If I'm doing a very small reindeer, you might want to hunt for some smaller, more delicate branches. This one would also work for our size, and one like this might work for a tiny little reindeer. Now for the legs, you want fairly straight branches. So this area right here would be great for a leg. And you want your legs to be all about the same thickness. I would say most of mine are about the thickness of a pencil or like a marker pen, or just a little bit larger. This stick right here, it isn't as mossy. It would still be a great size for a leg. And really what you want is them all about the same length. The legs for this reindeer are about 7 inches long and about the thickness of a pencil or like a Sharpie pen. The antlers are a little bit shorter on this guy. They're about 6 inches and they don't have to match exactly. That's going to add a little more character if they don't. Let's get started making the armature for our Twiggy needle felted reindeer. Using that 18 gauge wire, this is the cloth covered wire, we're just going to bend it right in half and give it a good twist. I like to just hold on to it with my needle nose pliers. Twist it nice and tight. This gives you a nice skeleton or spine for your critter and will hold its shape very, very well. Really will support a nice firm structure. Okay, when you get to the very end, it's up to you how long you want your body to be. I'm leaving about the last inch untwisted and then bend it back up to the body. Now we want to bend a basic reindeer shape. This standard little shape is fine. It's just like a little snake shape. And I like to just put my thumb right about there and bend. Pretty simple. And then put your thumb right about there and bend down. So this is just about, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches. Go with fingers. That's about 3 fingers, and that's about 2 fingers and 3 fingers. And then the body, just give it a little bit of an arch. If you want, you can wrap it with a chenille stem. Just stick it through the little loop in the head there and then twist it around. If you have a bare wire, you may find this is really helpful because the chenille stem will give the wool something to grab onto. This covered wire is really nice. The wool grabs onto it. But if you like the chenille stem, this is how I would go about it. Begin wrapping the under reindeer with your CW1 core wool. Start at the head and pull the tension very tightly. If it's possible, work in long lengths of the fiber so that you can wrap long strands at a time. The tighter you wrap, the better you hold tension, the firmer your under reindeer will be, the firmer the core of the body, and the less you'll have to poke in the needle felting portion. Repeat this step to build up the body shape underneath. And if you need to add more wool in one spot, you can just wrap that area, or you can patch it in and needle felt it down. Start by using your coarse felting needle. You can also use the medium needles, like we like to use our 38 star spiral needle or whatever you have. And you can even use a cluster of needles. You just want this underbody to be very, very firm and well shaped. We like to cover our reindeer in wool batting because it lays on so nicely. Just lay a patch, whatever size you have, covering as much of the body as possible, and begin needle felting it down onto the body. I like to use my cluster of 42 triangles for this and smooth it out as you would shelf paper or wallpaper, just working maybe from the middle to the outer edge of the piece of fiber that you have. With batting, you can layer very well and just easily blend each little patch. So it doesn't matter if you don't have one big strip or one big width, you can just patch it on and blend it as you go. Needle felt the ears and the tails at this time. We're really just making these long little pointy shapes. So notice we're going to pull off a strip. I like to use a little shape as a guide. Fold the wool in, needle felt it very firmly, shape it, and then leave the very end unfelted for attaching to the body. It really helps to have a firm surface to needle felt on. We're using our Wow pad. If you have foam, you can use one of our Wowie toppers, or you could even put a felt sheet on top of your foam just to keep the wool from getting embedded in. Set those shapes aside, and it's time to pull out our twigs for the legs and the antlers. Cut all of your legs so they're roughly the same length, and then we're going to cut holes into the body. I start by making a hole in the underneath side of the torso using a tapered awl. I follow that up with a pencil that is about the size of the branches I'll be inserting. And then I use my very pointy scissors to widen those holes up further into the body. So you're snipping wool. Insert each leg into the body to make sure you know it's going to stand straight and not topple over. Before we glue anything in place, we want to check out the position. So make sure all of your legs are the same size and that your reindeer stands. And then we'll come back and glue the legs, the eyes, and the antlers all at the same time. Here's a little trick for making sure your legs stay in the right place when you take them out and put them back in. I like to make sure my legs are inserted about 1 inch into the body, at least for this size of a reindeer. So when you have them all in the place that you want to keep them, mark them where they meet the body with a pencil just on the inside of the legs. And you can also make a point to take them out one at a time and glue them and put them back into place. But this is going to give you a mark for where it should meet the body. I like to put the legs in first, and then I find the positioning for the antlers. This can be a little fussy, but just take your time because you should have lots of twigs to choose from. So make small holes for the antlers and go ahead and put those in place. Once you like how they look, mark your eye holes, cut your eyes so that they're long enough to glue, but they don't bang into the antlers, and put those in place. Once those are in place, I will attach my ears and my tail. Just needle felt this to the body so it all blends in. And then go back and glue in your legs one at a time, your eyes, and then your antlers. If you find the antlers branches you choose are a little bit larger, you might want to go for a little stronger glue. I have this great liquid silicone glue that I like to use, or you could also try a glue gun. So if they're heavy, you might need something a little bit stronger. Once I have all of these parts glued into place and I'm happy with their positioning, I'll top off my reindeer with a cute little wool nose by needle felting it, and then I like to give them a little blanket. This is some flannel that I had left over from a quilting project, and I use my pinking shears to give it this nice decorative edge. I'm going to be hand sewing mine into place, but another option is to glue it for a permanent attachment. All in all, I have to say this was such a fun project for me. I love how whimsical the reindeer look with the fun branches and twigs that you can find on the ground, and the mossy bits are probably my favorite. Thank you so much for needle felting with us today. We hope that if you needle felt your own twiggy little reindeer, you'll share a picture with us in our Facebook group, Living Felt Friends. And if you're looking for another fun DIY Christmas needle felting project, check out this video for needle felting a gnome. Until next time, y'all, we wish you happy holidays and happy felting.